On today's episode of the Glue Guys, we're not going to talk too much about sadness.
No.
Okay?
Nothing
An
happened.
anti-sadness pod, because it's a little sad.
Forward, Michael. We move forward.
Move forward by talking about how Dame Lillard maybe wants to get out of Portland. Hey!
Wow.
Thumbs up on the YouTube stream. And Brian and I revisit our preseason Nets player draft, and we redraft the team and see the differences.
Ooh.
It's going to be a nice sort of...
Holding ourselves accountable, Mike. Holding ourselves accountable.
Welcome back to the Glue Guys. This is Mike here. Say hello, Brian.
Hello.
Check us out on Twitter at BK Glue Guys. When most people don't realize, so Brian, his hellos are so crispy and clean.
No, that was not good. I caught it.
But we do the show over Zoom, and oftentimes Zoom cuts out. Brian is at such a high register that Zoom literally cuts out his voice.
You know what's the greatest
beyond human
compliment
possibilities.
is Zoom will actually, if it detects you're playing music, it'll say, "Hey, are you playing music right now?" And sometimes if I get right in that perfect range, I'll get the alert. Are you playing music?
What, does Zoom noise cancel music because of like
I don't know
legal issues?
What's supposed to happen, but if you click on the little thing, it brings up some settings for music or whatever. So, anyways, feather in my cap when it didn't happen this time because that sucked. But next time, lots to aspire for. Mike, what's going on? Yeah.
Welcome back to the Glue Guys, Netsdaily.com, The Athletic. Get yourself behind that paywall at theathletic.com/Glue Guys. If you could, be so kind. Hanukkah has just ended. Christmas is on its way. A little gift to your glue men right here. Go on Apple Podcasts, 5 stars. We need them. We want to have them. I will look at the reviews. The funniest one, I will read privately to myself and chuckle. I appreciate the chuckles.
Into a jar. And also, scarykittles.com has a new drop.
Yes,
Mike,
tell people about Scary Kittles. Not everyone knows.
There's a hand-dyed DC shirt with all the...
Oh, cool. It's hand-dyed.
It's hand-dyed.
So labor, good.
There's labor involved. It's our labor. We hand-dyed it.
Okay.
It's how we did.
I know, yeah, I'm just giving you... why am I doxing?
Or
why am I grabbing...
And you're incorrectly
doxing.
It's Scary Kittles as in ScaryKittles.com.
Like
t-shirts.
Carrie Kittles.
Like Carrie Kittles, but with a fun turn of phrase. And there's new stuff up there and all the old stuff still. Just a few more thick boys in stock. But yeah, fun stuff. I'll put some like things on the screen for the YouTube.
And as we said in our tease, we're ignoring sadness. We're pushing it down deep into our soul.
We're just plugging right through the sadness. That's what we're doing. Instead of sadness, we're just
plug
plugs.
up that sadness. I want to give a shout out to a special listener, Mina Kimes, friend of the show. Mina is one of the nicest people in media.
I agree.
She tweeted out, this is so sweet. If you haven't seen it, I really appreciate it. She tweeted out, Apple Podcast had a thing, and said, what is the most comforting pod for you this year? And Mina said, the Glue Guy. She called us a sort of niche pod. Which is
true, yeah.
Which is actually very nice, because we're very niche.
It's not only just
we're
niche
the niche
because
of niche.
It's a Nets podcast, which is already niche, but then it's also this informal, sort of personalized version, which just puts it way off the radar. I'm going to close my window. You keep going, Mike.
So, Mina Kimes, thank you so much. That's so kind of you to say that. It warmed my heart. And this is this time of year. It's the holidays. We just had Thanksgiving. We just had Hanukkah. It's time to be thankful. And I'm thankful for all you listeners. And I'm not thankful for the Nets because they're terrible.
Hey,
they're terrible.
Mike,
this team is awful.
We beat the Timberwolves.
Burn it down, Brian. Burn it down, Brian.
I've never heard you do anything like that.
I'm trying to do new voices.
I thought we weren't going negative because this is the problem. We always have a good game on Friday night, a bad game on, in this case, Saturday, but Sunday seems to be the way the schedule goes, and then we always sound like we're negative Nancy's. I mean, we can do a little Bulls game stuff if you want to, Mike, but
I tell my wife every time I pack the car for a long road trip, she says, I thought we weren't going to go negative. I said, honey, we're in it. We're on the battlefield, my love, and I'm going negative.
Wow. All right, go ahead.
Can you please pack some bags that close? It zips up. She has a thing where she likes to pack things in bags that just stay open. Oh, an overflow bag.
There's something. Someone
zip it up.
Somewhere along the way, they went all totes, and as dudes who are basically mule Mule Boys, as I assume you are.
That's the name of our other podcast, the Mule Boys, where we talk about packing.
That tote thing, it's not as easy as it looks. They often have very small, like shoulder to armpit ratio things, and it can dig in. Anyways, Mike, do we want to talk about the Nets ever on this podcast?
The Nets. Here's an issue. Okay, let's talk a little Bulls, because then we're going to talk about Damian Lillard, because there's been some interesting developments regarding Damian Lillard, and it matters for the Brooklyn Nets. Can we say it's a problem? Can we say the narrative that the Nets can't beat elite teams? Can we say it's an actual issue?
Well, you know me. I'm an optimistic guy. You know, I'm a more than half full. I'm delusional, basically delusional person.
Your glass is half full of fruit punch.
Of bullshit.
That's how.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. And so, I mean, if we're talking like incremental steps towards beating elite teams, you know,
oh, wow, this is charitable.
We had a close game. I also, you know, the Bulls being elite team is sort of questionable, even on its face. So even I'm going to call myself out on this.
They beat the Nets twice already.
Yeah. I mean, that's if there's any reason why we're making them, we're like, you know, Hogan putting them over right now, putting some random jobber.
That's a great comparison.
We're just putting them over.
That's an amazing comparison.
And they may or may not deserve it. I can't tell. They're pretty fun to watch. I got to tell you, I'm kind of jelly of the Bulls. Do you feel that way at all?
They're a really fun team.
Fun.
Like I was looking at, so I was like, wow, Lonzo Ball is so impactful on this game, and he had like 3 points. Mm-hmm. And so they have him. They have the bald eagle in Caruso.
Gotta respect going all bald though too. I mean, let's not derail and talk about.
Well,
hair
he
too
resisted it for many years, so I don't respect it.
Any resistance?
He was between a rock and a bald place. Wow. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
He was between a rock and a bald place.
You were ruthless.
Yeah.
Super fun. Derek Jones Jr. I mean, a lot of
Derek Jones Jr. is like
insanely fun.
And the only thing I could think about was, remember during the pandemic when we believed that us watching basketball players play video games was going to be the content that was going to fill the hole of basketball. And Derek Jones Jr. played Kevin Durant on ESPN and destroyed Kevin Durant in 2K. And that's all I can think about now, because that's a big chip that should be on KD's supple shoulders. Listen, it doesn't feel right against big teams. It doesn't feel right. It feels like there's something lacking. Harden said specifically after the game that the loss is on him, and I'm glad for that observation. It's an observation that anyone could have had. And again, we're not going to be negative today. We're not going to be negative and be dour and talk about how this team is never going to win. They're not going to get out of the first round. But that was a disgusting James Harden game, and he missed about 4 to 5 bunnies at the rim that obviously if he hits those, it's a different ball game.
It felt like more like 10 to 15 bunnies. It felt like it just kept happening over and over again. I don't even know what the number is, but I think, you know, it might be just recalibrating his new lift. You know, it might be just that he's just really at point blank and pretty open. And I think that there's like, you know, it might just be that he needs to be like, have post hamstring estimates for where he needs to put the ball, because like he's really open and right there at the rim, so there's just no reason to not be finishing with his skill set. So anyways, maybe that's just
and the funny thing about that is we were all complaining that he hasn't gotten to the rim as much this year, and he got to the rim against a very good perimeter defensive team. He consistently got to the rim. He just didn't finish.
And I would say like even our perimeter defense wasn't terrible. It just so happened that like they saved all of their transition offense, which is what they're good for the fourth quarter, when we sort of were like, you know, oh, they're not going to do transition offense, and then just didn't have any kind of transition defense planned out for that. So like that was I don't know if that was actually like a strategic thing that they did, or just like they were like, oh, why don't we just blow the doors off these old farts, and then proceed thusly. A little silver lining, if I may.
Sure. Line it with silver.
Can I do? I mean, this is very thin, but it's Paul Millsap has been activated.
Okay.
You know, he's a little life, you know, back in Paul Millsap, which, I mean, there was nowhere to go but
very nice silver lining.
Nowhere to go but up. But, you know, he's been he looked really good against the Bulls for periods. Had a couple of moments against the Timberwolves on Friday. But in general seems to be coming back to life. So, just having everyone have their, but also not silver lining. What's the anti-silver lining? What would you, the brown lining?
Yeah, like gilded is the opposite of gold, right? It's fake gold. Is there fake, like, what's the silver that you used to wear when, like, the necklaces? Remember when we were kids and, like, we had, like, those awful bracelets and, like, the sort of, like, woven silver? Did you ever ride that wave? They were, like, pre-puka shell.
I'm not saying I'm above
necklace.
riding it, because I would have, but I don't know exactly what you're talking about.
I'll find an image of it and I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Because I rocked it, but it was the type of material that would make I would get a rash from.
Oh, good.
So I would wear it and then I would just have like a red rash around my chubby neck, which I know people don't believe. I had a chubby neck. It was a big,
nobody believes
a big neck.
No, I was.
What was your point about anti-silver?
Oh, that
the anti-silver surfer.
Are we? I mean, just are we a little bit worried about Bruce Brown finding his way again offensively?
No, don't say that.
Okay,
he got 12 rebounds.
He did.
Yes, I understand offensively, yeah, but I think I'll give Bruce more time. I won't be like Steve Nash and DNP him like he did Blake Griffin so viciously.
I'm gonna be real. I really don't think that this meme of that we can't beat good teams is gonna be around in February. I just don't think so. I mean, I think that we're gonna be ultimately fine. I mean, really, like
because they're trading for Damian Lillard potentially,
but also because James Harden is going to hit more than 4 point blank shots in the future. I just have to believe that. This is just a strange post-hamstring psychological hinky moment, but I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up his exact like shot chart from the game. It's not popping up the way I wanted to, but he took, in terms of shots less than 10 feet, he took 14 shots less than 10 feet against the Bulls, and he hit 29% of them, which is not good.
I also have a data point via the Discord. Shout out to the Discord. Invite in the Twitter bio and in the YouTube description below. Somebody posted, I don't remember who the original tweet was or who posted in the Discord, so 2 for 2 here. But I did copy and paste it, and it says the Brooklyn 3-point percentage, shooting overall, effective field goal percentage for the season, so rank pre-Joe Harris injury, where frequency 39.5%, that's 9th. That ranks 9th. Accuracy, 40%. That ranks 1st. Effective field goal percentage, 55.8%. That's 2nd. Post Joe Harris injury. Are you ready for these numbers, Michael?
Yes, ready.
Frequency, 32%. That's 27th. That's a loss of about 20 ranked positions. Accuracy, we went from 1st to 19th at 34%. Effective field goal percentage, we went from 2nd to 16th at 52%. We are down significantly, double digits,
stunning
in every single metric. Sure. Mike, it's so the people out there that have no concept of whether Joe Harris shoots the shot or not or whatever, blah 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 blah. The downstream effects of Joe Harris on the basketball court are many.
Yeah,
they are quantifiable. We have evidence of them. They're everywhere. So we have to stop doubting this man.
Yeah, I mean, he is top 3-point shooter in the NBA. He has the $18 million salary or whatever it is. And other teams would take Joe Harris in a second if the Nets put him on the trade market. He has real value. And so I say all that to say, because he has this value, him not being on the floor does affect the team. Mm. It affects the team. And I've been liking the minutes from the role players. Like, obviously, we love Bembry. You want to cut Bruce Brown. I don't know why. It's a personal thing.
I hate these memes. I love Bruce Brown. I love Bruce Brown. I'm always looking to polish the edges. Or shave the
shorn off the edges, like
to trim the fat. Yeah, you see. No, I want to make small improvements wherever I can, and I think we're not putting Bruce Brown in the best position to succeed. That's all I'm saying. You have a strange face on you have a look that I can't place.
If behind the curtain for everyone, I have this is going to reel off course here.
Oh boy.
But I have a screw in my tire that flattened my tire, and our mechanic just texted me and he said, I'm not sure how to interpret this. He says, looks like it's a boulder screw. He just has a picture of it. Hope the hole is too big for patching. And I'm thinking, like, don't I want patching? Mm. I don't. Like, patching means less money for me.
I think he's just
anti-patching means I get a new tire that costs too much money.
You know what I mean? I think there might be a confirmation text in there. Are you sure you don't mean isn't too big for patching? It could be
No.
just a missing. Could be. He just
Yeah, that's
missed.
what I think. Yeah, that's what I think. Real quick before we get to Damian Lillard, because we're not talking about the negativity. Nick Claxton has come back. What do we make of Nick Claxton? I don't know.
A little early to tell at the moment.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And as we do coming up, we have a really fun thing that we're going to keep doing throughout the year, like different seminal moments. To start the year, Brian and I drafted the players on the Nets roster, who we like the most, plus contributions and all the sort of factors, like who you like the best. And Nick Claxton was my second round pick. I'll be interested to see where Nick Claxton places in this draft that we have coming up later in this episode. Before we get there, Brian, let's just talk about Damian Lillard. Let's do it now.
Okay, let's do it. Fire it off.
There's a great, big, gorgeous report in The Athletic, theathletic.com/glueguys to get behind that paywall from Shams Charania and Sam Amick, two all-star reporters, insiders in the NBA. This is all about the Portland Trail Blazers, having to do with Neil O'Shea now out from the Portland Trail Blazers. What is the state of the franchise now with Neil O'Shea, the former general manager, out? Part of it discusses how Damian Lillard, maybe there's some anxiety, a little bit, a twinge of anxiety between him and the franchise. There's been some Chauncey Billups, head coach, v. players ruffling of feathers. And it says in here that multiple sources have told The Athletic that Lillard would like to play with 76ers three-time All-Star Ben Simmons. The idea being that Simmons is a great defender. Trailblazers are an awful defensive team, and it would really help Damian Lillard to have Ben Simmons on the team. Okay. I just say this. We made jokes about this before, but it does open up the window slightly ajar for a Damian Lillard exit if the GM of the team is now out and there's some disagreements between Chauncey Billups and Lillard. I know we're not saying Kyrie, like I have no clue. I mean, it's from a salary perspective, it's very easy to trade Kyrie Irving for Damian Lillard. And it would be super fun. I don't know if the Trailblazers would want Kyrie Irving. It doesn't feel like a franchise that would embrace Irving, but I will say this, okay? Of the weirdest NBA cities, the clientele that most embraces sort of an odder path of life, Portland is top 3, right? Just to be stereotypical, I mean, there's literally a show called Portlandia about the oddities of being a Portlander. Portland, has a different culture overall. I'm not saying that it's anti-vax or anything like that. I could just see Portland Trailblazer fans falling in love with the quirky Kyrie.
Oh, dude, 100%.
With just quirky, odd, flat Earth Kyrie.
Well, you know why? It's because his anti-vaxxerism it's born from not the same kind of anti-vaxxerism that it'd be a
that perpetrates a certain news network.
Right. It's not January 6th anti-vax. It's a whole different brand, which they, who knows? They might get behind a little bit better.
Skeptical third eye.
A little bit, and also a little bit like Earth Mother vibe too. There's a little bit like he's a vegetarian, I think, still, and pretty into that whole thing. There's a whole thing of every boomer has that same joke where it's like, these anti-vaxxers are like ripping menthol cigarettes, and they won't take the vax. It's if you have a precedent of taking care of your body, there's like maybe a little bit more sort of logical grounding to your opposition. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I'm just trying to build logical frameworks. Just workshop.
Yeah, absolutely. We're trying to sell the Kyrie Irving trade to Portland right now.
Yep. Big time.
And Nike is headquartered in Oregon. Kyrie, I say this over and over again, and I really don't mean to just like have this like weird hot take of like capitalism rules all. Kyrie Irving matters a lot to Nike, and I would think Nike matters somewhat to Kyrie on some level. He's probably getting X amount of dollars from them at a high series of level. It would maybe be nice for Nike to have one of their biggest stars, back in their backyard and all the marketing activations that they could do. Oh my gosh.
I love it, Mike.
Marketing possibilities, Brian.
Let's activate. Let's activate around this initiative, if you don't mind.
And how dope? Can we just do this for a sec? How dope would it be if Damian Lillard played for the Brooklyn Nets?
It's not going to happen.
That'd be cool.
It's not going to happen, Mike. Why do we do this to ourselves?
Wouldn't it be cool though?
Yeah, it'd be great.
The perimeter defense would be horrific between Harden and Lillard, but it would be a pure. I mean, if we're being serious, Lillard is like one of KD's favorite players. He talks about it all the time. Those guys have played together in the Olympics and stuff like that. I could see it could be a beautiful thing.
It could be
if he came to.
I noticed you called him Dame. Do you go Dame on it?
Yeah, I go Dame. That's what most people, because we're so close to him. Why? What, do you not like that?
I don't know. I have a we workshopped this bit beforehand. This is I can't help it.
Do the bit, man.
Well, the bit is that like. Sorry.
What's the bit? Tell people why you want to talk about this.
I think that like you're so upset. You're so upset with it.
Just do the bit.
I had a problem. I had a parallel maybe with Dame Lillard where, when I was going to summer camp, Jewish summer camp, as we often talked about, as the only Irish guy in the summer camp. They asked in the application, they're like, "Do you have any nicknames?" And not knowing any better, my parents and my sisters called me Bud growing up. But yeah, I have a nickname named like Bud. And then, of course, on every document that circulates around the camp, I'm Bud Egan. So I basically have an alter ego for that whole, group of friends and people that I'm Bud Egan to those people, which is a totally different person. And I feel like maybe something that happened. That happened to Dame Lillard. I feel like that there was like an application somewhere where he put that in there because there's too much inconsistency with his name.
Sure.
That's
and Damian's a great name. Fantastic.
Damian's a great name.
But Bud Egan is a different person.
It's a different person.
If you were Bud Egan, you wouldn't be doing this
Bud
podcast.
Egan's got a dirt bike. He's got a dirt bike. he's doing motocross. I don't know who he is.
And you being the only Gentile in the whole student body at the camp, being also then Bud Egan, you must have been an object of fascination.
Bud Egan has also got like Red Auerbach.
There's Bud Egan.
Yeah, there's also like
look at him go.
There's like I feel like there's like a boxing cigar chomping box. That is the cigar chomping boxing coach that's laying dormant inside me. Like that's his name.
What would be
Egan.
that voice? What would be Bud Egan's voice?
You already know. He's got his gravel, buddy. You got what it takes, kid. I like those mitts. Bring the mitts here. I want to see.
I haven't seen hands that fast since Rocky Marciano.
Look at the thighs on this one. Bring them here. Bring those ham hocks here.
Hey, let me. Ham hocks is a big.
It's a big.
Yeah, ham hocks have to be part of the vocabulary if you're Bud Egan.
Of course.
If you're old man Bud Egan. Yeah. So. I just wanted to bring this to people's attention. There's things that we have to be monitoring. I keep teasing this episode, but we're going to do the Kyrie conundrum coming up very soon. And I think Damian Lillard's like a 1% chance type thing, meaning like I think he's even a 1% chance for leaving Portland this season. It feels like a thing that maybe happens next offseason when he's fully like let the franchise burn down around him. But something to monitor. Certainly Lillard's contract for Kyrie's contract would make a lot of sense. It would be super fun to have Damian Lillard, James Harden, and Kevin Durant on your basketball team.
It'd be a lot more fun than watching the empty seat. Collect dust. Like, that's what we're doing. We're just counting. We're just got our rulers out, counting the inches of dust collecting on Kyrie's chair right now. That's what we're doing.
Let's do this. Let's take a quick break. Coming back, Nets redraft. Brent and I are going to go through the roster and draft it up about, who's best. And we're back, Brian.
Ooh.
So, to remind everyone what happened last time, we, at the beginning of the season, as part of our season preview, drafted the Nets roster. And we went through. Brian had the first pick. I had the second and third. It was snake draft, back and forth. Here was Brian's team. And this is in order of the guys that he took, and then I'll do mine in order of the guys I took.
Excited.
Brian went with James Harden, number 1. Yowza. Yowza.
Yeah, I mean, I had the
Brutal.
second pick. What the fuck?
No, you had the first pick.
No, you had
You had
Kevin
number-
Durant, number 1.
Yeah, you took James Harden number
Yeah,
one.
but you had the first overall pick in the snake.
No, you had the first overall pick.
No, that's not true.
Okay, maybe you're right. I didn't really workshop this. Joe Harris, you took. Blake Griffin. LaMarcus Aldridge. Paul Millsap. James Johnson. Bembry. Which, okay, I need to be fully honest here. I've talked a lot about how I was the first conductor on the Bembry train. The second that he signed, I was excited. And it's a real black mark on my credibility, the fact that Brian drafted Bembry when he did, when I think I took Javon Carter before Bembry was even off the board.
That's where I'll get you. It's deep in the bench. That's where Bud Egan does work. Okay, that's where the Mitts and the Ham-Hocks come into play.
And your last pick was David Duke Jr., who we're still waiting for the David Duke-assance.
And Day'Ron Sharp is setting the world on fire.
Hey, don't talk about my team that way.
Yeah.
My team, Kevin Durant, second pick in my draft was Nick Claxton. A bit rough for your guy. Patty Mills, okay.
Nice.
The ghost of Kyrie Irving, for the trade exception that is Kyrie Irving. Bruce Brown, Cam Thomas, diggity no doubt.
Really selling yourself.
Javon Carter, my bench creators, Javon Carter, Day'Ron Sharp, and Kessler Edwards, who, I will remind you, if you look at Kessler Edwards per 36, he's averaging like 30, 10, and 5 on 50% from 3.
There you go.
So if they just played him 36 minutes a game, he'd be amazing.
Mike,
okay.
Without Kevin Durant, your team is a true abomination.
Patty Mills, Cam Thomas, stop. You have Blake Griffin. You have a guy, Joe Harris, who's not even playing basketball. He's decided not to play basketball. Paul Millsap had one good game, and you're trying to butter us up.
Look, I've got LaMarcus Aldridge, which is the best pick in the draft. So
he was the best pick in the draft. He was undeniable. Okay, I will give you the first pick since I took the first pick last time. Should I share screen so this is the YouTube dealio?
Yeah.
So that YouTube peeps can experience this in raw. So if you want to, go on our YouTube. Hop in. You're going to get to see the draft happen live in front of your faces, and it'll be fantastic. Okay, Brian, you're up.
Ooh.
I'm imagining you're taking Kevin Durant, right?
Okay, I'm gonna take Kevin Durant. I'm gonna shock the world and do that.
Should we talk about how good Kevin Durant is?
He's been pretty good.
29 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists.
No, you
I don't think so. No, I didn't know.
Just took a while to load.
Oh, there they all go.
There they go.
Here they come.
Here they come.
He's been amazing, and he's maybe the MVP right now. And thank God they have him. Because if it was just James Harden and Kevin Durant got hurt for a while, that wouldn't be good. I don't know if you feel that way, but
no.
So you got Kevin Durant. Any thoughts on KD?
What needs to be said? At this point, it's just like. The only thing that I can say is I wish we could stop riding him so hard. Like our fourth quarter offenses. I know that we talked about this like an episode or two ago where we're just like maybe we're just pretending or practicing for the fact that we just don't need an offense in the playoffs and we're just going to be relying on Kevin Durant the whole time. But do we have to do it the whole season? I mean, I feel bad for the guy. It's a lot. Anyways,
at least we think his Achilles is healed, right? We're stretching it pretty thin at this point. All right,
I feel good.
So I have 2 picks as snake style. And here's what stinks. I have to take James Harden with the second overall pick. Though he's a controversial player this year. I mean, we've discussed it so many times on the show. We had Mo DeKeel, former Clippers and Spurs video coordinator, to break down James's game. And he thought, there's been the new foul rules here in the NBA that have affected James Harden. His hamstring has affected him. Ultimately, he's still averaging 21 points, 8 rebounds, and almost 10 assists on 40% from the field, 35% from 3.
It's big nummies overall.
Pretty good production.
Have you ever heard of him being called Jimbo Slice? I've never.
Absolutely never in my life.
That's a good deep cut. That's a nickname on Basketball Reference for anyone who's wondering.
I think. Do you agree that he's the unanimous second overall pick?
I do. We are like hyper fixated on James Harden for good reason, but also still not appreciating just how like insanely good he is at so many things. It's a weird spot to be in where you're used to like, you're getting you thought you'd get a 1A guy and you got like a 1C guy and you're like really scrutinizing it, but those numbers are pretty good despite the field goal percentage, which is not so great, but whatever.
Can I do something? Would you rather have Karis LeVert and Jared Allen or James Harden?
I would rather have James Harden.
Yeah, I think that's fair. We're pulling up Karis LeVert's stats. He's only played 17 games because obviously he had a bunch of health issues. Averaging about 15 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. Not efficient shooting. We love Karis dearly. Jared Allen on the other, Jared Allen's the better player right now than Karis is. Jared Allen's at 17 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 70% from the field.
Yeah. He's actually good,
on people's faces.
But the problem is, like, he would not be putting up those numbers on this team, unfortunately, with Kevin Durant on the team. Like, it's a different situation. But, I mean, obviously, I think we all thought that was, like, within the realm of reason for Jared Allen. I think, like, we actually probably, I feel like at one time we were like, I think 17 points per game is his, like, ceiling specifically. It's possible. I don't know if that's just me being insane. But, yeah, I mean, obviously, like, if in a vacuum without like Karis LeVert's injury stuff, which is still kind of ongoing, I still take James Harden despite everything.
Yeah, the ceiling's way higher with just having James Harden. Obviously, there's so much more. Like they're all the first round picks. So like, would you like? I don't. Overall, like, would you take the trade back? No, there's not a shot. I am a little worried that our boy Harden doesn't have
the question about the
consistency.
I guess. The more interesting question at this point is like whether you re-sign him or like the max contract stuff is interesting. I say obviously do it, but like, we'll have. I'm interested to see like whether he feels good about that decision if this continues in this direction. Going into he'll obviously get a max contract from somebody if not us. It's just kind of an interesting spot to be in after having not signed and start off the season as slow as he did. It's a tricky spot.
Well, I remember even when they traded for him, I was thinking like the max contract thing is like a little bit of a risky deal because he is a little bit older. That means like you're adding another 5 years onto this guy who, like, we talk about the free throws. Well, the free throws means he was getting hit, right? And he wasn't this guy that like Dwayne Wade where he fell to the floor all the time and was taking those shots. But he was a physical player. He is a physical player. And if that diminishes, which we've already seen, then, like, who is he? He's still 8 and 8 or 28 and 10.
A walk-in triple-double, but just minus 10 points.
Yeah. So he just needs to, what the thing is? He just needs to be a little bit more efficient from shooting. And that'll see. So the third pick, I think, to me, the third pick is unanimous as well, though you could quibble. But I'm taking LaMarcus Aldridge, your guy. LaMarcus has been a revelation for this team. I had no clue that he would be this good. He's the mid-range murderer. 14 points, 6 rebounds, an assist a game, shooting 57% from the field. Without LaMarcus this year, I think this team is like 500, honestly. If they had gone with, let's say, Paul Millsap and Blake Griffin and no LaMarcus, if LaMarcus was never able to come back, they would be 500 and we'd all be panicking and freaking out. But he is on this team. He's now starting and closing games. I'm also slightly more impressed about his defense than I was. Like, I thought he would be just a potato sack, and I think it's a little more, it's like a potato sack with some spuds.
He's definitely got spuds. He's got some weird like it's a potato with real hands, He's got clever hands. We talk about it all the time. I'm going to go obviously Patty Mills next. That's not going to be a surprise for anybody.
So that was like, to me, it's like you could take Patty Mills over LaMarcus, I think.
I think you could, but you're not going to take anybody after Patty here because he's been sensational and just a real anchor. When things are not going well, Patty has a unique ability to right the ship as best as he possibly can, given everything. Have enjoyed him enormously. He's shooting a really high percentage from 3, more so than I think. Is he leading the league or close to? Somewhere like that, right?
He was leading the league. He was at 50% at one point. Now he's gone. Now he's at 47%. I don't know if he's quite leading the league. I can check
Joe Harris numbers.
Joe Harris numbers. I mean, the thing I love about Patty is that I'll call someone out here. Alex Sturm, friend of the show. said he tweeted out, I think it was after the Timberwolves game, I continue to question Patty Mills's shot selection. I will do so. Like, I'll continue to question it. How dare you? How dare you? I mean, yeah, it's sometimes he takes some wild heat check moment shots, but this team kind of really needed that. They need a guard like that, particularly without Kyrie Irving. Mike Conley's number one. Patty Mills in terms of 3-point percentage. Mike Conley, did not know that. 47.5% from three.
And then Joe Harris in third. Like we should be so dominant. Like, why aren't we?
When they come back. When he comes back. But Patty, I appreciate they needed this confidence. They needed like a ball handler like him, who when James Harden is like not quite feeling it, which is like every other game, and it's all on KD. You do need a guy who's taking irrational shots that go in basically 50% of the time. He's pretty good. Okay, your third pick.
This one might come as a surprise. I don't know, but I mean, it's gonna be Bembry for me. Like this is
How dare you? You son of a bitch.
The extent to which I think Bembry
that was targeted
has, he's just risen to prominence. Sorry, DeAndre apostrophe Bembry. I meant to say. He is quickly becoming a real. I don't know what
he has no nicknames, by the way.
Whoa!
How is that?
Whoa!
In his Twitter thing is Fear the Fro. Did he? Oh no!
Did he ever have a fro?
We're looking at Basketball Reference for the podcast.
Go to the Instagram. Is he off there too? Man, he's just what a man of mystery.
I love it. Oops, error occurred.
No, not there. Nuked his own account.
Is he like an assassin?
Yeah.
Is he like, I don't know if you watched the show Barry on HBO, but like, was he in fact an assassin and then decided to play basketball?
Wow. Nuked his own social. What a boss. Boss moves, so I like him even more.
Or during this episode, he's tweeted something horrific and he's decided to. Yeah, that's what happened. That's probably more like.
There's more than one way of nuking your social account. There's a couple different ways. But yeah, anyways, he's become quickly like a kind of figurehead of our defensive identity, which is a not bad one. Nobody's talking about the Nets having crummy defense anymore, and I think it has a lot to do with Bembry and Bruce Brown, but also Bembry, who's like. Also still crushing from the 3-point percentage, still somehow over 40%, I believe. 42 here.
43.
Almost 43. And yeah, in general, like how can you say anything negative about a guy who was like maybe a fringe rotation player who's pretty confidently locked into a starting lineup position as far as I can tell? Is anyone challenging him for that position right now?
Well, so what is it? So when Joe Harris comes back, does Patty Mills move back to the bench? Then you go James, Joe, Bembry, LaMarcus, and KD. I think you could. Yeah, I think because you want the defense of Bembry out there. Like I've just really enjoyed the way he plays defense. Like I've talked about this so many times before. They really needed this stretchy-ish wing guy. He's not super tall, but he's got some length and real athleticism to him. He's so active. I think he's really smart too.
Yeah.
On the moves that he makes.
And look at his effective field goal percentage. It's over 60, which is like, you're in like backup, front court player at those numbers. Like what you want out of role players in a team like this is like high efficiency field goal percentage stuff. Like just like as whenever you're open, please just hit it. And he's really just done his job in that regard.
And he really he does make some kind of reckless drives to the rim at times, though I appreciate it because it's out of aggression. He does not take bad mid-range bad threes. He doesn't do that. That's not really part of it's not in his bag.
No.
He only takes 1 3 a game and he's at a high percentage.
He takes the 3 that like he's dared to. He's so open that it's like basically like I bet you can't make that, which is good. Keep him honest.
So he's been a good pickup, and it is kind of shocking that he's over Bruce Brown at this point. They're kind of on each other's corners a bit. So Brian, to recap, is Kevin Durant, Patty Mills, and Bembry. I have LaMarcus Aldridge and James Harden, and this is where the draft gets hard. But I know this guy's injured, but it's just pure value at this point. Joe Harris, I know we can feel however we want to feel about Joe. He's third in the NBA in 3-point percentage. He's scoring 11 points a game and 4 rebounds. He's no longer the thing out of his game that's kind of disappeared is the drive to the hoop. That conversation that announcers always have. He's more than a shooter. He's kind of stopped being more than a shooter. His 2-point attempts this year is around 2.5 per game. At one point 2 years ago, it was at 5.5. And that's when he was the driver bro that we all loved. He's stopped doing that, but he's still a deadly efficient 3-point shooter. I would like him to maybe find a little bit more of that off the bounce rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to complain. When he comes back, I think we're all going to feel super great when we have lineups of Harden, Patty Mills, Joe Harris, KD, and LaMarcus Aldridge, and the amount of shooting that it's going to be on the floor, not even just from three, but with mid-range, with LaMarcus and obviously Kevin Durant, it's going to be tough for the Nets not to score on literally every single possession.
Yeah.
Except for James Harden. So I go Joe Harris. Here's who's on the board. Okay. It's sort of like the bigger bench players: Nick Claxton, Paul Millsap, James Johnson, Blake Griffin. It is the young buck, Cam Thomas. It's everyone's favorite center, Bruce Brown. And it's the ghost of Kyrie Irving. Oh, God. If I was trying to be funny and cool, I would take the ghost of Kyrie Irving because I could say, oh, he's going to be Damian Lillard, which I may do that. Gosh.
Go ahead. Be funny and cool. You've always wanted to be that way, Mike. It's always just...
You know what? All right. This is the last podcast episode. Okay, I'm going to do this on believing that it's going to pay off at some point. Now, this is probably the worst pick of the draft. I'm taking Nick Claxton.
Wow.
I'm taking Nick Claxton. I know that he had, what's the letter after Omicron for Corona? I mean, like he had the mystery illness of all mystery illnesses.
Ligma?
He had the lambda.
Ligma.
Lambda.
Ligma.
But he was bad. He's only played in 5 games this year. He was bad to start the season when he was the starting center for this team. Nash threw him out there to the wolves, and he got devoured. But this team, one of the things that we've identified that it needs, on our shopping list, our holiday shopping list, is a pick and roll big. And he is the one guy on the team that is actually a pick and then roll big. He's the only guy that can catch alley-oops and throw them down with regularity. Harden needs that. Harden, to be optimized, does need a big who can set a pick and then roll to the rim, because Harden is so gifted at delivering passes around traffic and to bigs. I'm betting that when Nick Claxton finally gets his wind about him, that he will be a valued contributor, and that he will, do something for this team. And if not, they'll trade him this year for someone good. So it's kind of also that play. I'm diversifying my portfolio here. Now, Brian, it's up to you.
Yeah, I'm going to go Cam Thomas because he plays and is good. All of your guys are
that's a thing.
Are diseased and benched. So I'll go. You're going off projections. I'm going off actuals here.
Sure. Yeah.
So Cam is coming into his own slowly but surely. We still have to play Houston this week. Or is it next week? I can't remember.
No, it's Dallas, then Houston, yeah.
And in that game,
back to back,
we basically promised our audience that that's his breakout game, and from there on, he's like at least minimum 20-point per game scorer,
scoring 55 points in that game.
Yeah, yes. And from there on,
taking 55 shots.
It'll be an entirely different narrative, and the whole league will be fixated on Cam Thomas. So that for that reason, I'm taking him. That all checks out with you, right? Is that all fair to say? What I've just laid out? Yeah.
Yeah, he's been even more of a contributor than I thought. He's still a little, obviously he's a little shaky.
He's a little shaky. He's a little rough around the edges.
Yeah.
I
love his shorts.
That comma's killing you, isn't it? You can't get it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna go. Ooh, this is actually kind of tough down here. Now we're getting into really tough territory.
Okay, here's who: Paul Millsap, Irving, Blake, Bruce Brown, James Johnson. There's some meat on that bone.
I gotta tell you, I might go James Johnson at this point.
Yeah,
which is
I was
scary.
thinking about James Johnson over Nick Claxton, to be honest.
I think I gotta go.
You should go James Johnson.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it.
I'm pressuring you into it.
Yeah, I mean, also just looking at my team construction here, I need a little size.
That's not really how we're doing this, but sure.
So,
not
yeah,
building a roster.
James Johnson has adequately fulfilled the expectation that he's a Swiss Army knife, a lunch pail guy. Not formally a blue collar boy, and that meme has seemingly died and been banished to the bench along with Blake, Blake Griffin.
Remember that?
Yeah. So anyways,
remember how happy people were printing T-shirts about the blue collar boys?
That's a cursed meme now. But anyways, what can you say? But he's also we've talked about his huevos rancheros. He's finishing games weirdly.
He's a game winner
and hitting, and in two separate occasions hitting both putting the game away-ish threes and game-winning free throws, weirdly. So he's also got the best nickname in basketball, Bloodsport. I'm just reminded of that now. It doesn't get used enough. It's one of the more underutilized great nicknames.
We do kind of need Ian Eagle to yell Bloodsport at some point during
need to happen.
The broadcast.
Yeah, and he's just been karate chopping his way into the rotation more and more. So, if given the choice between him and people who are being slowly banished to the Shadow Realm, like Blake Griffin and Paul Millsap, whose resurgence is just ever so nascent, whilst being sort of there, James Johnson. Heck, why not?
I really hope he shoots well enough to stay in the rotation. Right now, he's shooting 48% from the field, but only 27% from. He's just not a 3-point shooter. He can't shoot free throws. He's usually 68% for his career, but he's 43%.
That's a small
sample because he hasn't got
here.
fouled. Basically. I've loved. He has a nice passing touch. He seems like a great sort of vibe addition to the team. Where his nickname is Bloodsport. It's nice to have a guy on your bench named Bloodsport.
You want to have somebody who can do a roundhouse kick. It's important. I think.
All right. So my turn. I'm going to take Kyrie Irving here. Oh, wow. This is a value play.
Wow. Dude, your team is a calamity. Is a walking calamity.
It's like one guy he has broken hamstrings. Another guy has a heart condition.
Aldridge is good, but other than that,
Joe Harris is a broken ankle. Dick Claxton had a mysterious disease, and Kyrie is afraid of vaccines. God, what kind of team did I construct? Glass house. Yeah. But there is still a shot that Kyrie wakes up one day, because he does change his mind on things sometimes and decides, hey, I like basketball, and I see a lot of people feel really okay after taking vaccinations. Maybe I will do the same. And if he does that, I will personally throw him a parade. I know we should celebrate a guy who has held out the vaccine this long and finally decides to do it, but let's have fun. Mm-hmm. He would be great if he played basketball. Do you agree, Brian? It would be great if Kyrie Irving played basketball.
Oh yeah. We'd love it. We'd love it out here.
But even if not, I'm trying to be cool and funny. Value to possibly turn the ghost of Kyrie Irving into Jimmy Stewart from what's that movie? Miracle of Christmas or whatever.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, I don't watch those movies. That's not for me. I don't watch those.
They don't play those at Denny's on Christmas Day.
Wait, have we talked about that on the pod?
That was a good
real
roast.
Quick?
Yeah, that was a good roast. That was a dark roast. It was Matt Parker. Shout out.
It was a Folgers.
Yeah.
The why you have to be in the Discord is that Sean, good friend of the show, said I ruined Avengers Endgame, which I know it's a meme that I've ruined movies, but if I'm ruining Avengers Endgame for you because they fought Thanos, we think we know that they fought Thanos.
You're doing it again, Mike. You're doing it again.
Shit. But Matt Parker defended me because he was like, think about Mike's childhood. He was at Denny's on Thanksgiving and then going to Circuit City on Black Friday. I was
6 a.m. on Black Friday.
That is a dark childhood. It's pretty bad. Okay.
You should just see the 1,000. Only on YouTube, you could see the 1,000-mile stare in Mike's eye when looking back at Circuit City. Anyways, sorry. What were we talking about?
Bruce Brown. I picked Bruce Brown over Blake and over Paul Millsap and the other people that are on the bench. It's, again, he actually still plays basketball. He'll have good games. He'll have games where he doesn't really shoot that well from the field. I still like his intensity. Even in the game against the Bulls, he shot 2 for 11 from the field. He hit a big shot near the end that kept it close. He did miss a point-blank layup, though, as well. We love Bruce Brown. I'm never going to say a negative word about Bruce. He's on my team. He's the only guy on my team that actually plays besides LaMarcus Aldridge. Yeah. So I need someone who plays basketball. Brian, get 2 picks, and I'm going
to blow through these, Mike. We're hitting the lightning speed. It's Paul Millsap and then Blake Griffin over Javon Carter, which is a fall from grace to even say it, but I agree with you. Javon is in an interesting. Well, I'm not going to do that, but anyways, Paul Millsap looks like he's coming back online. Blake Griffin, I still believe has some definitely like another weird moment in him where he comes back, resurgent, full of life. I believe in miracles too much to have that not happen, but. Yeah, so I mean, but I'm, these are just my thick boys shoring up my front court here. A couple of thick boys that I need to get some boards, take some charges, do some dirty work. But now and also you're stuck with Javon Carter, so.
Yeah, I could be funny and be like, I'm going to take Day'Ron Sharpe and David Duke Jr., but it's. I mean, I should take Javon Carter. He still plays professional basketball. He's been, I guess, disappointing this year. I haven't looked up Landry Shamet's stats. I'm sure Landry Shamet's a better player than Javon Carter. But the Nets were never going to pay Landry Shamet $10 million a year. They just weren't. Not gonna happen. And they took a gamble on Javon Carter. So Javon Carter, and of the rookies, Kessler Edwards, Day'Ron Sharpe, David Duke, I'm just going to take the talent of Day'Ron Sharpe.
Can I also say about Javon Carter, if he, again, it's more about taking things off the game than putting things on. If he could just be a reliable ball handler to get us into our offense, his 10 minutes a game or whatever are totally fine. Totally fine. It's just these ill-conceived offensive flourishes that I don't know why he's doing it, and I want it to stop. That's all I'll say.
It's like that shirt you buy at Marshall's where you just want a classic Ralph Lauren button down, one color. You just want a basic thing, but every Ralph Lauren shirt at Marshall's is this wild sort of Easter level. What's the kind of flannel that at Easter?
I don't know, but I know what you mean.
Pastels or whatever. Sure. It's there'll be a pocket patch that is a jean. There'll be jean fabric, but everything else is normal. Can I just get a navy blue button down? No, you can't. Yeah. Everything in Marshall's has that extra little flourish to it.
Mike's Javon Carter. Can I just get my short sleeve button down, white on white, deep white.
And then when you eat barbecue sauce
and a pair of sharp spectacles. Can I get my look?
Can I get some pleated pants, please? Where did pleats go? When I was a kid, pleats were in. Now you don't see kids with pleats.
All right, now
they're all on TikTok.
Well, I know you've got Day'Ron Sharpe. I mean, this last bit, we can fly through.
Yeah, you get Kessler Edwards and David Duke Jr.
Yeah, I even have more players on my team.
Wait, do you want Kessler first or David Duke first?
I don't. I guess.
You don't give a shit, right?
Day'Ron looks good in his moments. I kind of like his. It's got good build, but we don't need to spend a ton of time there, Mike. None of those guys are going to play.
Let's go through Day'Ron Sharpe. No, just kidding. Okay, here are the teams. You guys decide for yourself who did better. I think Brian definitely crushed me in this. Okay,
this is Bud Egan. This is Bud Egan, not Brian.
Bud Egan. Buddy Garrity, Kevin Durant, Patty Mills, DeAndre Bembry, Cam Thomas, James Johnson, Paul Millsap, Blake Griffin, Kessler Edwards, and David Duke Jr. That's Brian.
Killers.
I have Harden, LaMarcus Aldridge, Joe Harris, Nick Claxton, Kyrie Irving, Bruce Brown, Javon Carter, and Day'Ron Sharpe. Let's end this up right now because I got a call. Brian, wrap us up because I have a call from AAA.
Thank you so much for joining us at Netsdaily, at BK Glueguys on Twitter. Mike, you're picking up your calls. Don't dox yourself. Good on you. Thanks for muting that. Guys, scarekills.com, at The Athletic. You already know. Get behind that paywall. I'm doing it. I'm doing the thing. Mike's already leaving. He's got a nail in his tire. We're out of here. Thank you guys so much. I did it. I think I did it. That was a good outro. Maybe I should be in the lead chair. This has got me thinking now. Coup? Should we storm the Capitol? Storm Mike's Capitol? Next time. Find out next time on the Glue Guys. Bye.